So my subject is, about internal tool versus external tool or a product. And maybe, do you guys have any internal tools that your people are building or built? Do you have that experience? Okay, great. All right. A few people have that experience. Other people don't have this traumatic past. I'm, all things tech right now at antithesis.com, where we do very nerdy things. If you want to connect, go to vladkarlov.com. You can scroll down to see what kind of things I did. So going to a talk, we're jumping right into the history, and we're going to be reviewing historical internal external products and how they evolve, and they'll probably will learn something from it. So who knows Yammer? Raise your hand. Okay, somebody knows. 2008. It's basically a Facebook for your company, and it was a pretty decent tool, and to the point that it was acquired for $1 billion at 2012. And then, you've been acquired, you feel like, well, that's great. But now Microsoft kind of replaced it with Teams, and now it's just part somewhere there in another tab. If you guys have a Microsoft cloud, you probably can experience that. I never did. So, but it was like a success. Do you think it was a success? Do you think it was like a pretty cool thing? $1 billion is not, it's pretty good. And then later, it was a Google Wave. Who knows Google Wave? So Google Wave, yeah, Google Wave was again collaboration. It's like a chat these days, and did magical things. It was a technological breakthrough because these were requirements. Google Chrome didn't even have a version at that time. It was just appeared. It was great, magical. It was very engineerish, and in 1 year it was closed. Just 1 year. Compare, right? That many years and then 1 year, boom, we don't need that. HipChat, same thing, same concept, right? We already saw two. HipChat, 2009, a very interesting year. At 2009, we're gonna review products, almost all of them from 2009. Something crazy going on there. People want to connect through chats. And HipChat, have you heard of it, experienced that? No? Yeah, interesting concept, great ride. Almost, 20 years, acquired by Atlassian, not for that much money, but still cool. And at the end, being sold to Slack. It's crazy, right? Being acquired and then working and then improving and doing all of those versions. And then being sold to Slack. And all of those were started as just a product and then being acquired and then being an internal thing, and then like their success is like somewhere in the middle of a bigger product. It kind of fades away. And then Slack, 2009, internal tool from the company which tried to do a game. And the game was not successful, and they almost died as a company. And then they realized that, hey, let's try that chat thing that we did. And it turns out it's great, because it was high pressure. When your company disappears, you try to do your best. And this is the ride. 20 years, after 20 years of development, $27 billion after they've been public. So like success after success after success, right now part of bigger organization, but it's fine. Still, you know Slack, right? Everybody knows Slack. So, Facebook, 2014. You see, 2014, rapid growth for Slack. And at the time, Facebook's like, hey, we can do this. We know how to do this. And Facebook had a lot of internal tooling. And they decided, how about we repackage that and make it public? And it had fair usage. Many people from Facebook loved it. Many people from Facebook didn't like that at all. I know a few of them. But in the face of competition, it's kind of decided to wind down that thing, and that's it. But it's many years, right? Many products don't even see the face of public market. Discord, 2015. You know Discord? You kids know Discord probably? Great ride. Also, 20 years. 20 years. Like there's a pattern. You need 20 years to do a decent thing. It's not that fast. It's not like ask ChatGPT to do that. You need to ask ChatGPT to improve it for 20 years. That's an interesting investment. And again, as a game developing company, you have an internal tool as a chat, and then it's a product. And your game, it's very hard to be a successful game, and very easy to be a successful chat app, as we're learning, right? So what's the lesson? What are the lessons? If your internal tool is not a chat app, don't do this. No. I have a few more examples, and they're very weird. And maybe we going closer to your reality if you have an internal tool. So there is a product in 2009, again, 2009. Few people know about that. Probably you want to check it out later. But it used to be a public product, then acquired by Dropbox, then internally used by Dropbox, never productized properly, unfortunately, and then released to the public as an open source product, and just being forgotten. And at this point you think, well, it's going to die. those guys continue to develop that. Now it's open source, 100% open source, and all that trickery. Great product, looks kind of like this. And continue to live, continue to earn money. Not super popular, not billion of dollars, but it's fine. It's going to survive. And that's a interesting ride. As we learn, majority of products, from 2009 going further, 20 years, great success, gaming company, internal tooling, and Zulip is a special case because it's kind of survived acquisition and corporate deprioritization. So they already have like this weird terminal app, which looks like a real GUI app. And it's also niche. So if your thing is niche, probably it's going to survive, but if it's not niche, and you're under a big organization, chances are you're going to die. The weirdest case possible, 2006, the earliest one. Who knows what it is? Probably nobody. Am I that old? Okay. Something camp, yeah. Campfire from 37 Signals. In 2004, they started doing it. Yeah, they started doing this, and it was great. It was like very early. And then they, eventually they used that inside their main product, and their main product got all the resources and the focus, so you did the main product, so it became a feature of a product. And then they seized it, dead. And while I was preparing that talk, I was sure it's completely dead. And I was very surprised, but recently they revived that in a very interesting way. Right now, it's not a SaaS company, and Basecamp, well known to do a SaaS. It's not a SaaS company, it's a single app that you bring once, you can install on your server and just use it. $200. Impossible, right? It's like crazy. It's kind of Slack, but like for $200 for a whole organization. So lessons. Have you guys learned anything? Me not. Like successful history doesn't teach you anything. So I'm going to be sharing my personal lessons from struggles for the past 5 years about the tool and the company you probably never heard of. But I think those are useful. So it's very hard to know what's feature and what's the company. You should really ask yourself a question. Feature is easy. You can enable it, disable, postpone it, forget about it, provide that, measure that, and it's fine. Like low expectations. Internal fit does not mean market fit. If like 5 people like it, 100 people like it, even 1,000 people like it. Talking about Facebook Workplace, even like thousands, tens of thousands of people like it internally. Externally, it might not be great. Distribution, that's like a very big pain point for me. Distribution beats everything. Usability, humility, cost. Well, usually it's for free if you want to distribute really good. So if you cannot get distribution, probably just forget it, but don't bother. Unless you enjoy it personally, in this case it's just great. So Slack won, not because of technology. Technology was not original. There was a chat app before that, right? They hacked in a great way onboarding, integrations, and virality, and bottom up to the companies. You didn't pay as an organization to use it. You just like start using it and then like connect people. It was great, and that's advantage of Slack to be that popular. Dog fooding. Everybody wants to dog food and forces to dog food, but what dog fooding is doing actually, it might hide certain friction, and it's just basically you becoming very tolerant because you've been paid to use internal tool. It's like, well, our internal tool is great, everybody using it. Well, of course, we force people to use it. If there'll be a separate company, then it won't be a case. Architecture, when you start doing something internally, then really hard to expose that and properly scale. So another learning is that real ownership and separation goes together. If you think that internal tool is really great, just separate it to a separate company, it's probably going to survive, right? And then you start thinking, well, no. I think the safe case, if you have anything like that, you can spin off something in the company and invest in it, and worst case, you're going to acquire that for cheap, and it's becoming a feature of your product. It's kind of safe, round trip. That's it. Summary of everything I told you in those truth. If you disagree, let me know in Q&A section. But basically, here's what I think about bad signals. And I'm not even sure if with all signals, maybe you can convert internal tool to the public product, but chances are you can't, or your organization can't. And maybe you should go and say, hey, how about we don't do this internal thing? Or maybe reposition perspective on that internal thing. Like, you agree that it's a source of joy for many people, and we're going to continue to invest in it because we just like to do that, or something else. That's it from me, very fast. Any questions?
The last bullet point, what does that mean? Platform before pain?
Well, if you want to go up in the corporate ladder, there are certain keywords you need to speak. And if you want to attract investments, there are also certain keywords. These days is AI. And a little bit before AI was a platform. So you're just like, we're going to be a platform. And it's it's easy to do a platform. You just like, hey, expose API, now we're a platform. But if you want to be a platform and you think it's your like key advantage and differentiation, it's not going to fly because you need to close on a real pain. And if there's no real pain that you're solving as a core product, you can't be a platform. In that sense, Slack, it's kind of a platform because majority of time people are spending inside that, and everything else that you need to do rarely, you can integrate into the Slack. So is Slack as a platform? Well, in terms of your perception, it is. There was a product, data visualization, Domo. Anybody use Domo? Public company, huge business. All it did is data visualization connected to data sources, drove some charts, and you can view them on your mobile or desktop. That's it. And they were like, hey, we are intelligence platform, blah, 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 blah. What it is now, like, you don't even know about it. It was a public company. Millions of, probably almost billions, I don't know, millions of dollars. Nobody remembers them. And that's what like platform before pain, because almost anything these days can draw charts from data. There's no like pain, like, hey, all of you probably know how to do that in numbers of ways. Anything else? Yep.
I have a question. So with the previous slide, where you spoke about internal fit not equal to market fit,
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to know how you went about that problem in finding the market fit for your product.
Internal fit does not equal market fit. I did not solve that problem. We still have the problem. Our internal tool is still internal tool. It's just like a way or means of delivering experience. We expose it to few companies and they like it. We expose it to other few companies and they hate it. So there's no like fit until it's like really, really, really fit. You can kind of imagine that people like it because 5 people like it or 10 people like it. Unless like there are people who are not getting paid to use it, really like it and use it. Unless that, you don't have a fit. And you really have a fit in terms of VC definition if people are paying to you to use it. That's a real fit in substantial amounts, not like three people.